that Kevin Hart roast was essentially modern day buck breaking in. I don't feel the need to elaborate on that part any further, but I found the whole thing spiritually off putting, like the entire thing. And I'm wondering if it's hit him yet, because he's going to be reprimanded for that. And, for us, it may look like a series of tower moments, but for him, I think it's going to look like a lack of spiritual protection. I don't think Black people in particular understand the amount of protection we need just to get through life, especially when you're on the big screen like he is. He's on a grand scale, so he's going to need a lot more spiritual backing than most people because there's more eyes on him. I think that when he did what he did, he stripped himself of that. That was just the impression that I got. And I'm going to explain it. So it's one thing that, if you want to pay the price of fame by sacrificing your own dignity as a penance, but it's a whole other thing when you sacrifice the dignity of somebody else. You invoke the name of a dead man and sacrifice his dignity as well. What did you possibly gain from that? And the reason I'm saying that is because Kevin Hart has to approve all of these jokes. This is his roast. And as a Black man, without the fame and the fortune, he is George Floyd. That could just as easily have been him. And he even made public statements about George Floyd after all that took place. So how is it that you're now here cracking up on the stage as a white man makes fun of him? Now, I've explained to you guys before what the fixation is with white men in the case of George Floyd. It's because they get off on torture. They loved watching the life leave that man's body. And that's just what it is. That's why they memeified him so much. That's why he's the main one that they constantly bring up. Because how many of our people have died the same way George Floyd did, but we didn't see it? They need something they can see so they can connect to it. They need to either visually see it like with George Floyd or even audibly hear it like with Trayvon Martin. They memify those things and they obsess over them because they got off on the torture. So to let a white man get up there and then make that joke, and not only just make the joke, he did it in a room full of your Black peers. And we already know that they do that because they want a reaction from us. That's why they throw that name at us like a taunt. They use him as a taunt against Black people. They want that reaction so they can feed off of it. Kevin essentially fed his Black peers and their emotions to this white man's sadistic, racist nature. That's essentially what he did. These people are sitting in here. You know that we have a visceral response to anything pertaining to George Floyd because of the way that he was murdered. It was heinous, and we all watched it. So it's for you to sign off on a joke like that and allow these people to come in here and not only use his name as a taunt and humiliate you and try to humiliate him, you also fed the emotional and heightened response of your peers to this man. And I don't think that we're looking at that the right way. I know people are always like to say this stuff's not that deep, but it really is that deep. And Kevin's going to pay for that. I don't know what that's going to look like from the outside looking in. Like, I think it'll be a series of tower moments. Probably that's what it's going to look like to us. But for him, I think it's going to look like a lack of spiritual protection. And I don't know that he's prepared for that. I don't think we understand just how much protection we actually need. And Kevin has already reached every pinnacle a comedian can strive for. So what exactly did you do that for? It's one thing to sacrifice yourself, but he didn't have the right to sacrifice George Floyd's name. And honestly, when you become so white adjacent in your thinking and your pursuit of material wealth, that's exactly what happens. You lose yourself and you lose that connection you have to the divine. And I really feel like that's what happened to him. And Cat got up there, he told the truth. That none of that was a joke. Nothing that he said was a joke. He meant everything that he said. And I believe he's absolutely right. He probably is the last one in Hollywood who's successful and still maintained his soul.